Good morning, and a special welcome to those of you joining us for QI Power Hour for the first time. This is Tanya Verrill, and I'm the Executive Director of Measurement and Knowledge Integration at the Health Quality Council. QI Power Hour is a free monthly WebEx offering hosted by the Health Quality Council here in Saskatchewan, and we provide this opportunity for colleagues across healthcare as well as other industries to hear from local and national improvement experts on a variety of quality improvement related topics. Just a reminder that following today's session, a recording of the event will be posted to our HQC website for you to share out with colleagues who are unable to join us in person today. We also invite you to check out the recordings and presentations of our past sessions on demand at the address listed on your screen. And while you're on our health quality website, we also invite you to sign up for our distribution list, and this ensures you receive regular invites to all of our upcoming QI Power Hour sessions. Over the last number of months, we're delighted to see how QI Power Hour has continued to spread throughout our province within our provincial healthcare system, as well as to those in other organizations in Saskatchewan who have an interest in quality improvement. We've also begun to see spread to other organizations within Canada and even abroad. Again, welcome everyone to our QI Power Hour. I'm going to pass it over to Chelsea Schwartz, our Provincial Improvement Consultant here at HQC, to cover off a few of the interactive functions involved in today's webinar. Chelsea?
Thanks so much, Tanya. So for those of you who have taken part on a QI Power Hour session in the past, you may be familiar with some of these features, but I will just go over them once more by way of reminder. So the first we want to flag is the annotation function. So to use the annotation function, we invite you to select the pen icon on the top left-hand side of your screen, and then use the arrow, and we're going to practice this function by inviting you to place on the map where you're joining us from today.
Arrow.
Excellent, excellent.
Oh, fun. That's cool.
So I see folks are getting the hang of the annotation function. Welcome, everyone.
Yay.
So the second function that we want to introduce you to is the chat function. So you can find this on the top left-hand side of your screen. You'll just want to click on the chat bubble icon to enter into the chat function. And then we invite you to send your questions or comments or ideas throughout the session to all participants. This way the panelists as well as other attendees will all be part of the conversation and see the comments that you post. By way of trialing something new today, we're also going to integrate the feedback function pretty extensively throughout our presentation this morning. So what we invite you to do is under the participant menu, so located right next to the chat menu, you'll notice a little megaphone icon. And so once you click on this icon, we'll invite you to use the following feedback tools. So you can indicate yes, no, too fast, too slow, applause, or laughter. So we'll just give everyone a chance to practice this function. I'm curious, are you happy that it's Friday? Oh, good.
Oh, look at the people coming in with yes. Oh, too slow. Oh, it's too slow that it's Friday? Friday came too slowly. And a lot of applause. Oh, that's fun. And some laughter. Yay.
Excellent. So we'll be using that tool throughout our session this morning. Finally, if you are a Twitter user, we also invite you to join the conversation and tweet out your learnings from the session today as well using the hashtag QI Power Hour and the handle HQCSask. So with that, I'll pass it back over to Tanya, and she'll introduce our guest presenter today.
Great. Thanks, Chelsea. And I am delighted to welcome this morning Sheryl Mills. Sheryl is actually new to our organization. She joined the Health Quality Council in January of this year, and she's playing a lead role in the design, development, and delivery of our educational programs, products, and services. As an educational development consultant, she also coaches and mentors our health system partners and stakeholders on best practices in educational design. Sheryl's background is in curriculum and program development and facilitation. She came to HQC from the Teaching and Learning Center at the University of Saskatchewan. She holds a PhD and a Master's in Education from the University of Saskatchewan, plus additional training in Tiny Habits, Format, and the Change Management Model, ADCAR. Sheryl is passionate about the interconnection of leadership, learning, and change, and I'm very excited what she's going to share with us today in terms of her knowledge around the drama triangle and how to get off it. So I'm going to pass it over to Sheryl to get us started.
Oh, Tanya, thank you very much for such a wonderful introduction. I am so excited to be working with all of us today. And this is a topic that I am very, very excited about. And I'd just like to draw your attention to, you would have signed up for the drama triangle and how to get off it, but notice the new asterisk to the title, because really it's how to get off it if you want to. And drama is something that is completely optional. You can be involved in drama and you can choose to get off that triangle, and that's the focus of today. I'm Sheryl Mills with the Health Quality Council, and welcome to this morning. That's me and my big sunglasses in my office here at HQC, and I would love to have been able to see all of you, but that's a different style of seminar, and today we're on WebEx, and this is one of my first adventures with that. By the end of this session, you will be able to recognize drama in real time. Now that's a tricky one because often we can think about it after and realize, whoa, what happened? Oh yeah, the drama triangle. But this is tricks to recognize it happening in real time, and then to have a few more tricks up your sleeve as to how to exit the triangle at will, again, if you so choose. So we're going to find that feedback tool again. We now have 66 participants online, and let's see how many yeses or nos, because you know what, folks, even if you click no using the feedback tool, I'm going to know you found it. So that's kind of fun. So yes, you found the feedback tool, and you can do applause, you can do laughter. I think I've got a Betty for WebEx. I'd like them to put a winky face as one of the options for their responses. Yep, people have got the tools. Somebody's clapping, somebody's laughing. Yes. All right, we'll move along, and you can keep looking for it if you didn't find it this time. Now, this is another opportunity to use that same tool, and I'm just curious. I am in a room with others, or I am in a room, yes or no, I am on my own watching this, because you're going to have a very different experience one way or another. So we've got one person who's in a go, two people who are in a group, and lots of no's coming in on this. And as you know, this feedback tool is anonymous, so we know that some people, maybe, Chelsea, can people see numbers?
I don't think that they can see the cumulative numbers.
So us reporting back is helpful. Okay, good, let's move along then. Session objective number 1, to be able to recognize drama in real time. So let's dive into this area of our time together today. If you are a happy Googler, and I don't mean to be singling out Google as a search engine, but if you want to Bing it or whatever else you want to do, what your favorite search engine is, you can be Googling Karpman. Stephen Karpman first presented the drama triangle in the late 1960s. And we're going to cover the very basics here. Now, if you've probably already pulled up information on Stephen Karpman and the original drama triangle, you'll find that I've substituted some of the words. Karpman originally talked about the persecutor, the rescuer, and the victim. And there have been many other presentations of the drama triangle over the years, but one of the 3 points has remained the same, and that has always been victim. So I'd like you to think for a moment of the most recent movie or program or Netflix series or novel that you've been reading or program you've seen, and think about one that stands out in your mind and take a moment and identify who is the hero, who is the bully, and who is the victim. And what are they in drama about? Just give a couple of seconds for that, because I imagine something jumped immediately to mind on that one. Just using that feedback tool again, and you can see that each of the feedback questions are highlighted in kind of a green fuzzy box for you. And if, let us know, I can see each of these roles in the program I'm thinking about. It's got some yeses coming in. Yeah. It's hard not to miss, isn't it? Yeah. Now, I'd like you to think a little bit further here. When you think about those roles, I've been in each of these roles. That's another feedback for you. Have you been in each of those drama triangle roles at some point or another? You felt yourself as a bully or a victim or a hero, a rescuer? Okay, we've got some splits here. We've got lots of people saying yes and a couple of people saying no, they haven't been in these roles. I'm not talking about a dramatic production on Netflix. I'm just talking about in daily life, so we'll see how this goes. Definitely more yeses than nos on this one. This is the drama triangle. In some ways, within our culture, has been normalized somewhat as being how we interact with one another. And we see it, that template, if you will, being exemplified in all kinds of things around us, so that we have come to believe that it is normal. But it is not. It is a pathological kind of existence to be on that triangle, because it is a very draining kind of situation and it is negatively focused. And you can see on our slide that's up right now is that I'm using red to signal the drama triangle, and all of those roles are rooted in ego. And the ego is always hungry. The ego is never satisfied. The ego wants something different all the time, and that's why not only are we on the triangle, but we can be moving around on the triangle. We can be switching roles. I'm thinking mostly of the superhero Deadpool. When you think about him, in some cases he's a hero, in some parts of that movie he's a bully, and in other times he's a victim. But he's moving around that triangle, even in his own roles, and no matter which role he is in, he's got other characters that are supporting that role. It's a really interesting concept, but it's a bit tricky to get a handle on. So we'll spend a little bit more time on that one. Here's a story for you. This is an urban legend of sorts, kind of, sort of. But once upon a time, there was a parent who had two teenage sons. And those two teenage sons, you know, like 13, 14, that kind of age range, left dirty dishes all over the house in this story. There were dirty dishes on the kitchen counter, there were dirty dishes in the hallway, there were dirty dishes under beds, there were dirty dishes in the family room, in the living room, by the bathroom sink. They were everywhere. And the parent in this story had been quite patiently picking them all up and washing them and putting them back in the cupboard day after day, week after week, week after week, day after day. And finally, the parent started to feel like a victim. Nobody is appreciating me. They just take it for granted that I am going to clean up all those dirty dishes. And then after stewing in that victimhood for a while, this parent blew up and became a bit of a bully, in that the youngest son, who happened to be on site, was home at a moment where the villain or bully came to the forefront. And the parent said to the son in a louder than normal voice, "Can't you just clean up your dishes and put them away, clean them?" And the son said, "Mom, you have a bit of a problem." And the mother said, or the parent in this case said, "It's not my problem. You leave the dishes all over." The son said, "It's not my problem, Mom. I don't care if there are dirty dishes around." Well, the mother was absolutely stopped in her tracks when it was presented to her that she was the one who had a problem, and realized that the other character, who she was trying to make into a bully, from being the bully stance so she could change to victim. Interesting, isn't it? He was not picking up that role. Instead, he said, Mom, if it's your problem, you need to solve it because you cannot look to the source of the problem to solve the problem. As you can well imagine, the parent was stopped in her tracks and went away thinking, okay, I have to solve my problem. Now, that meant a change of mindset for the parent in that they could no longer be a victim, a hero, or a bully, and they had to find something different. And so the parent slept on that and woke up with the idea, aha, I will buy all paper plates and cutlery and disposable glasses, and then there will never again be a problem with dirty dishes all over the house. However, I'd be picking up dirty dishes with a green grocery bag, thought the parent, and so quickly dismissed that as a PDSA that didn't even have to happen, or a trial of something new that didn't have to happen, and moved quickly to, but the parent could put all the dishes away except for one setting for each of the people in the house. One glass, one fork, one knife, one spoon, one dish, one sandwich plate, one bowl, one cup, and put those in specially marked cupboards. Well, as you can well imagine, when all the dishes were put away, like wrapped up in boxes with tape on them, hard to get at as the legend goes, the sons were quite surprised and initially did not like that change. However, within a week, they were grateful. The parent was no longer on the triangle, the children were no longer on the triangle, and there were no longer dirty dishes in the cupboard. So, unlike the dishes, let's unpack that story. First, can you relate? Can you relate to that kind of example? I'm using a home-based example, an urban legend kind of story, just to illustrate the point of how we move around on the triangle in our everyday endeavors. Oh yes, we've got applause happening. There's almost more applause than there are yeses. It's that kind of a story, isn't it? And the crux of that was when someone does not engage on the triangle, what can change? What can happen in a new way? So unpack it. The parent had been the hero cleaning up endlessly day after day, eventually sliding into victim, feeling resentful and hurt, unappreciated, unheard, and so the voice got louder and louder as anger built and turned into a bully. Now, bully can look like a loud voice. Bully can look like passive aggressiveness. Bully can take all kinds of forms, and I'd invite you to be, as you're Googling Cartman's triangle, you're also looking at definitions of those roles. So it can look all kinds of ways. But what the parent did not do in this story was stay on the triangle. A very interesting switch up. So the key point on this part of our presentation is the V for victim. And I'd invite you to look at Lynn Forrest's work. And if you Google Starting Gate and Lynn Forrest, her work on the drama triangle is a very good supplement to anything by Stephen Cartman. And we'll be moving into a couple of other real key movers in this area in a moment. But Lynn Forrest talks about that we each have a starting gate position, mostly that we learned in our childhood, as to a role that we found got us what we wanted, or at least provided safety and security in our home environment. So perhaps in this particular story, the parent could have been a starting gate hero or rescuer. Just so happens in this particular story, the parent was an oldest daughter, and so had that template built in as being, if she was helpful, useful, a good girl. And if you can relate to that, just please think about it. What role or what starting gate position may you have been in? Often, if you are in the healthcare profession, you come from a root of wanting to be helpful. And that is different than rescuing or heroing. It doesn't have to be the same, but sometimes it can be. And if you've ever felt in a position where you've been in that helpful role and not acknowledged, or that you get overwhelmed or resentful because people aren't acknowledging how helpful you've been, You might slide down into feeling like a victim or lashing out and being a bully. So, key point here, all roles change to victim. Oh, we have a little bit of a glitch happening here. There we go. Thanks, Chelsea. We all slide into the victim role from either of those two others, and victim has the starring role on the drama triangle. So you can see here, everything slides down into victim. We can move around a lot, but victim is the thing. So that's why the V was there on its own. And victim, as you can well feel by the pointing downwards arrow of this, victim is a draining, low frequency, low energy place to be. It is just a sapper of energy, not helpful at all. So in the chat function now, we're going to move it up a little bit, and Chelsea showed you earlier how to participate in the chat function. What are the signs of drama in the workplace? When you've noticed the drama triangle in the workplace, what are you noticing or knowing as symptoms of the drama triangle? Let's just give you a moment to pop in. Oh, low morale, avoidance behaviors, yeah. What else are you seeing in the workplace? Gossiping for sure. Low productivity. Yep, backstabbing, offline talks, absenteeism. Oh my gosh, folks, you're just covering them all. One of the things that research is showing us is that the #1 drain on workplace drain on productivity is drama triangle related. And if we're looking at our environments being drained by the drama that we have, then we know we're just not a healthy organization. Oh, I like these ones. Thank you. Embellishing and exaggerating this situation. Yeah, great catches on those. Superhero, yeah. Superhero rescuer role. Oh my gosh, and you can just imagine, oh, let me do that for you. I can help you with that. You don't seem to have time. I can do it. Yes, disengagement. Oh my goodness, yes. So we're recognizing those symbols in the workplace, those symptoms of drama. Now we have learned, we're going to move on now to, we have learned to do these roles as I alluded to earlier. These are something that we grew up learning and that have been reinforced within our environments. And we use these roles, we have used them in the past to get something that we want, that we thought we perhaps could not supply for ourselves. So attention, power, we want to feel important, to feel loved, appreciated, respected, to be seen and heard and valued for what we are contributing. And so as long as those roles work to get us those things, we are willing to accept the cost, the drain, the feeling of disempowerment that comes with being on the triangle. However, we might choose to stay in drama for a number of reasons. We might like to stick with what we know. Drama has been normalized. We know that when we go for coffee with a friend, we're going to chat about all the rotten things that are happening in our lives, and we're going to blame other people, and we're going to talk about things we don't like or how we don't like it or stuff like that. We might want to stay in drama to continue to be right and not learners, or to be wrong and not have to change. We might want to stay in drama for the entertainment of it all. And there's a reason why all programs are based in drama. It is entertaining. People switch positions. It's constantly dynamic. We might also choose to stay in drama to get a hit of adrenaline. That kind of energy that comes from being in a dramatic situation or where you're really feeling all that emotional turmoil, that's adrenaline working. And sometimes we even get addicted to that adrenaline. And so the drama can be an addiction. That's not a normal state, that's an addictive state. And probably one of the biggest ones is we might choose to stay in drama so we can avoid dealing with real feelings and having those very deep conversations. This is where crucial conversations come in, or radical candor. Are you prepared to talk openly about what you're feeling, what you're experiencing? So those are reasons why we might choose to stay in drama. And staying in drama is a choice. That's the biggest point here. It is a choice to stay engaged on the triangle. So let's chat. What are some other reasons we might choose to stay on the drama triangle? If you have ideas, please put that up there. Oh, to feel part of the group and unsure how to get off the triangle, lack skills, don't seek out resources. Yes. And one of the offers I'll say right now is that I am open to having chats offline about this if you want to follow up at any point. Sense of achievement when you survive, being the hero. Defense mechanisms, definitely. Peer pressure. Yeah, how do you start a new conversation? People stay in to be in the clique. Yeah, wanting to know what's going on. Sense of achievement. Yep. Be part of the culture. You know, and isn't that an interesting one, to be part of the culture? And when we think of it as an unhealthy, unproductive culture, what we are choosing to say is that we are willing to remain in that rather than being a trailblazer in creating a new culture or a new set of organizational norms. Or whether it's the organization of your home, the organization of your friendships, the organization of your workplace, the organization of your school, your church, your social groups. Organization is just a group of people who are choosing to be together for a particular purpose. So, yeah, there are lots of reasons to stay on the triangle, and lack of awareness of how to get off, or even if you don't know that you're on something that you don't have to be on. Okay, how are we doing so far? We're at about halfway. It's 10 o'clock, a few minutes before. We've got about 15 more minutes left in our presentation time together before we head into questions. And I'll be dealing with all questions in our last part of the presentation. So let us know in the feedback section. Are we going too slow, too fast? We've got applause, a couple too slows. I think those too slow folks are hoping to move into the meat of it right now as to how to get off the triangle. That might be indicating that we were aware of what it was, but we want to know how to choose to get off and how to make that switch up. Okay, let's move along then. For those who are thinking we are going too slowly, we'll click it up a notch. Session objective number 2, exit at will. I would like to put a caveat in here right now. You cannot make someone else get off the triangle. The only person you can influence in getting off the triangle is yourself. Now, once you remove your role from the triangle becomes destabilized, and it has to change. But if you continue to hold your role in the triangle will continue. That's a very important point, and we'll come back to that point in a little more depth. But exiting at will, and only you can make that choice. So we've changed from orange backgrounds to green backgrounds here because it's a much healthier place to be. Less energized in an orange kind of way, but a healthier place. So number 1, how do I know if I'm getting off the triangle? Just change. Oh, that is such a good question. Chelsea, can you flag that for us to really chat through at the end?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's get, changing my role to be passive-aggressive. Great insight on that one. So we'll come back to that question at the end. Right now, we're going to look at how to flip it up and getting your ducks in a row and flipping the triangle up. So how you do this, you know, the empowerment dynamic is TED, and I would invite you to just Google TED and the drama triangle, and what they talk about is you switch it up by changing the roles that people are playing in their interactions with one another. So you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, we have that old triangle of bully, hero, and victim. If you imagine this sitting below the new flipped-up version, that TED offers, and TED offers great resources. I cannot underplay their resources. They just fabulous resources. So TED and the Drama Triangle, and you're into a whole realm of very creative opportunities. So in this one, when you flip up the triangle, the hero is no longer using rescuing language. The hero is now no longer rescuing, but moves into a coach role. The bully is still offering challenges, but there's a different kind of language that is used in the challenge, and the intention behind it is different. When you challenge a question, or you challenge a process, or you challenge an idea, you are not trying to hang on to your existing viewpoint. You are open to learning. I think right now I'd have to say that as soon as you flip up the triangle, you become open to learning, not keeping the drama going. And the victim moves into a more creative role. And so you start to create. You're no longer blaming. You're no longer looking outside yourself. You're creating a new dynamic. You are looking for creative solutions. You are looking to be creative, and you can just imagine the change of energy when we have a creatively focused space rather than a drama-focused space. Now, all these energies, as I alluded to on the previous slide, are now pointing into the center of the triangle, no longer running around the outside in that dramatic kind of way, but pointing to the inner spot in the triangle, and I love this. I don't think you'll find this particular piece of information in TED, but I have found it to be extremely effective in work meetings particularly, and let's just show you what's in the middle because it's magic. In the middle, you have your shared goal. So that shared goal is what you focus your energies on from each of those three perspectives. They are no longer roles, they are perspectives. There's the perspective of coach, there's the perspective of challenging, and there's the perspective of creating. So when you have that shared goal, it makes all the difference in the world, because as soon as things kind of go offline a little bit, you can draw attention back to that shared goal. And from my experience in facilitating a great number of meetings is that if it goes kind of south, I'm going to say, and the triangle starts to point down, returning to that shared goal for your time together, shared goal for your purpose, shared goal for your meeting agenda. As soon as you go there, you can refocus, get out of roles, and into perspectives once again. And that is so helpful. Now, this assumes that you have clarified what that shared goal is ahead of time, or at the beginning of your meeting or your event. If you're running a design event, you want to very clearly share that goal. For those of you who are working in quality improvement specifically, what is your target statement? What is the goal that you have? And how can all members of that team continue to stay focused on that shared goal? Moving on. But sometimes the shared goal isn't quite enough. Sometimes the shared goal can get lost in the drama of it, or you might even return to the shared goal, but you just need to shake up what's in the room. And so for that shaking up stuff, I would like to offer up the work from the Conscious Leadership Forum. And folks, this group is an absolute gold mine for information on how to shake it up. And what do they call it? It's called the Shift Deck, a fun way to get unstuck. That is one of the resources they have, in addition to all their other great online things, resources, workshops, forums, just a great energized group. And I would just like to say that if you do not feel that you are in an official leadership forum or an official leadership position, what they offer is for leading from where you stand. And that leading from where you stand, that puts all of us in an opportunity to demonstrate conscious behaviors from where we are. So you don't have to be in a formal leadership position to take advantage of this material and these perspectives. I would say they are valuable for every single one of us. So the shift deck is one way to shift it up. Lots of good ideas in that deck, and we're going to take a closer look. Chelsea's in the room here today, and Chelsea's going to pick a card for us. Chelsea, do you want to read it out?
I feel like this is a magic trick. Pick a card, any card. While whining about your issue, move your arms in a way that they've never moved before.
Oh my gosh.
Reminds me of my toddler.
Yes, it is one. And Lorianne's also in the room with us today. Lorianne, do you want to pick a card and read it out loud?
So this one says, put your attention on your breath. Inhale deeply, allowing your belly to expand, and exhale slowly, letting all the air out of your body. Repeat at least 5 times. Include gentle, pleasurable spine movement.
Oh, that's a lovely one. That's different than moving your arms crazily, but at this point in our seminar too, I would invite you to take a good deep breath and just relax a bit. I know it helps settle me down a little bit. We're on this pace in here together, and I know you're trying to get as much as you can from our power hour. It indeed is a power hour, but take a deep breath and just relax for a minute, and you'll feel that shift of energy. Here are a couple more examples. Exaggerate your current tone of voice and posture and complain with baby talk, whiny, mousy, loud, bossy, authoritative. Do that as much as you can with the issue that you are attempting to feel. And the other one, and this really gets a standing ovation in any group I've been with so far, is complain about your issue, finishing each sentence with, and I'm sexy. You just cannot continue to have the same energetic stance as this if you are thinking through these different things. So that's about changing your energy, and that's awesome. And I just wanted to highlight some more of the conscious leadership stuff. And no, I am not on a retainer, but I have really used their materials a lot, and they may be ones I wanted to introduce to you too, ones that you may not have been familiar with. Let us know in the chat function if you've ever heard of the Conscious Leadership Forum before. This is just a verbal one. I don't have a slide for this one, but if you've heard of the Conscious Leadership Forum, just let us know. I'd love to hear back from you on that one. Yeah, applause for it, and no, I haven't heard of it. Yeah, okay, yeah, please check them out. I attended one of their 3-day sessions, and I tell you, it was a life-changing event for me. Oh, those of you who have heard of them before, I'd love to hear more from you, and maybe we can have a follow-up conversation about that. That's great. So the 15 commitments offer something. The shift deck, as we saw a couple of examples from, and the Conscious Leadership 15 Commitments book is absolutely excellent. They talk about leading from above the line and below the line. Below the line is in the drama triangle. Above the line is in that empowerment dynamic. Okay. In the chat function, what is your most effective way to shift your energy? How do you do that? On your own or in a group? How do you shift it if things are getting dramatic again? Let's just wait and see what we get from the chat functions here. Humor, yay! Physical activity, yes. Stand up and stretch, meditation, a couple of deep breaths. Meditation can also be used off camera, right? On your own, you would do that as well. What other ways? Become curious. Ah, yes, curious. Change the subject. Look at them coming in now. Walk away. You know, walking away for a bit is helpful sometimes. Shared goals, non-dramatic coworkers. Oh, way to go, folks. Yay. Try to reframe, solution-focused. Ah, so many good ideas. Time off in Mexico, I can totally relate. Breathe and smell a good smell, change the subject to fresh air. That's why walking meetings are one of the best things you can do, especially if you have a tense conversation or a crucial conversation you want to have with somebody, is rather than getting dramatic, go for a walk. Do that, get that physical activity, the fresh air, the movement, and it can make those difficult conversations even easier. Yeah, thanks for all the good ideas, people. Excellent. Find something to agree on. Yep. Oh, wonderful. Lots of effective ways to shift. 2 key points here. Shopping. I just saw another one come in. Now, I'm wondering if that's take the whole team shopping or just go shopping on your own. Team, let's go shopping. Let's go see how that is. It definitely does shift up the energy. And there's so many fun ways to do it. Conscious Leadership Forum offers 2 that I found to be absolutely life-altering. One is the notion of accepting 100% responsibility for your experience. Take a deep breath and just really feel that. If I take, first off, this would imply to me that I currently have 100% responsibility for my experience. If I accept that, I am then in the empowered position to be switching up my experience 100%. And that is an exciting thought. Now, we've all heard it's not what happens to you, it's how you interpret it, the beliefs through which you filter your experience, the emotions in which you receive your experience, the resilience and grit that you have to make something fresh out of your experience, and that's why the leafy green in this particular section. But when you accept that you have 100% responsibility for your experience, that puts you squarely in the driver's seat of your life and how you are working with things. So number 1, they suggest accepting that you have 100% responsibility for your experience. This means, folks, that if we are on the drama triangle, it is 100% our responsibility. We are part of that. We have helped to create that. And that also means that we can help to uncreate that, that we can change that culture by changing our dance. That's why this is an inside-out job. That's why this is our thing. Now, if you were coming to this seminar expecting that you would find ways to change other people so those bullies or victims in your life would change and go away, or the heroes, whoever you were hoping would go away, they will not. They will not change their behavior until you change yours. No one in my world will change the dance for me. I have to change my dance. So that is accepting 100% responsibility. It can either give you a real rush of joy, or it can really be scary and just sit in the scariness for a while. It's okay. The second thing that the Conscious Leadership group offers is to speak unarguably. Now that means that they phrase it 3 ways. I am having the thought that, ... If you preface it with, I am having the thought that, nobody can argue with you because you are having that thought. That is the unarguable part of that. I am having the thought that this seminar is going by too quickly for me, okay? I am having the thought that today is moving too slowly. So I am having the thought that is unarguable. That's a very handy tool. I feel that is their second suggestion. I feel that. Nobody else can argue with how you are feeling. They can say you shouldn't feel that way, but they can't argue that you do because that's yours. I feel excited about today. Well, you can't really argue about that. You can say how you're feeling, but you can't argue with it. So speak unarguably. I am having the thought that. I feel that. And the third one is, and this is one that is probably not as much part of our culture. I think we've edged into accepting that people have feelings, but we are sometimes still not acknowledging that we have bodies and that our bodies give us information, and our bodies are our biggest sensory organ. And so when we say, I am having the body sensation of, like I think today, Chelsea, when we were getting started, the excited energy in the room, I mean, I could feel the butterflies in my tummy, I could feel my heart racing a little bit faster, I could feel just the sheer excitement of the thing. I was having the body sensation of excitement and a little bit of anxiety. Was it going to go well? Were the tools going to work? Were the people going to get what they wanted out of this presentation? So I'm having the body sensation of. Notice that it's I am having, not I had. So something about speaking unarguably is that it is present tense. It is right now, which means for those of us who may have been stuffing our emotions for a long time, that we are now being fully present with them right now, and we can speak right now because there is only right now. I invite you to reflect on things after you've had a situation that kind of triggers an emotion for you or puts you in a different space, and we all have those. I'm not saying they go away. I'm saying that we learn to deal with them differently in the moment and that we learn to learn from them. So those three, I'm having the thought that, I feel that, I'm having the body sensation of, and accepting responsibility. What is one of the authors, and I wish I would have put this slide in, Chelsea. It said that being off the triangle is moving into my adult. And I thought that was a great way of putting it. Off the triangle means I'm in my adult. We're coming down to the last 3 minutes of our time together in the formal part of the presentation, and then we're going to move into the Q&A portion. So just to review, by the end of this session, you will be able to recognize drama in real time and exit at will. Recognize drama in real time. A bit of a summary here. Some signals are how you or others are feeling right now in the moment. The words you or others are using. And again, I'd invite you to go back to Ted and Carpman and Lynn Forrest and the Conscious Leadership Group and to really explore. There are whole word bundles for each of those three roles. And when you listen to yourself or others, you can hear what word bundle a person might be in, including yourself. And also you can notice in real time if you are turning to any numbing behaviors. Are you checking your phone when you're in a meeting? Are you looking at other things on your computer rather than being present? Have you got your computer up and open, or are you present with the other people in the room? So any of those numbing behaviors, and those are the more meeting-focused numbing behaviors. Well, I've got to get that call, or I've got to do this. Why do you need to check that right now? You might want to ask yourself that question. Other numbing behaviors are online video games, watching a lot of programs, overeating, undereating. You'll know yours. We all have them. We've all found ways to escape from painful experiences. Exit at will, and remember, exiting is always a choice. Flip it up is your first go-to. Bring the focus back to the shared goal and get creative. What would happen if, I wonder, as one of our participant colleagues mentioned, get curious, start asking some questions, not interrogation style questions, but open-ended, wonderful questions, What if we did this differently? What if we tried this? If you're thinking of a PDSA, what if we tried this one? Small tests of change, small trials. Let's just try something new. And then if the flip it up approach doesn't work immediately, then you might want to, and I'm just switching it up right now, I'm changing my posture a little bit, stretching, change your posture drastically in the room. Now, thankfully, I've noticed that in meeting spaces, it is much more acceptable. As we understand sitting is the new smoking, it is far more acceptable to get up and stand, switch your weight around, maybe do a couple of arm lifts, that kind of thing. So you can do that quite acceptably right in a meeting if you need to change your posture to move yourself off the triangle, if you feel yourself sliding there. Just like to make a point of that word, sliding there, because we can slide sometimes. The other one is to take a deep breath and laugh. Also good, switches you up from the inside out. And thank you for all those great suggestions from the Switch Up the Energy that we got in our chat box. And a very good one is to excuse yourself for a moment and go get a drink of water. The more you can hydrate is the better. And this is a weird one. I didn't give you a whole lot of physiological support for why you'd want to be off the triangle, but hydrating, rehydrating can be one of those ways to kind of plump up your resources, literally. So you can switch it up, change your posture, take a deep breath, laugh, move, take a drink of water, and thank goodness most of us bring water bottles to any kind of event we go to now. Change your posture, bring your focus back to the shared goal, and get creative. Wonder what would happen if. Oh, there's a great book. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. Excellent book if you are looking for creative ways. And that is, what does she call it? Turning off the judger path. And I think it's Mary Lee, and I don't remember the last name, I'm sorry. Oh, thank you, Lorianne. Mary Lee Adams. She talks about moving on to the learner path. So, next slide. In the chat function, what was the biggest aha for you in this session? Just give us some of your ahas. We'll return to your questions in a bit, but what are some of your ahas? Biggest aha for you? Ah, yes. Turn into a victim at some point, yes. And once you know you're there, that's where all the depression is landing too, folks, in our culture. Is that's the victim position. Depression is in victim. Take for granted, yeah. Shared goal on the refocused conversation. Oh yeah, no kidding. How the meeting setup can impact the drama triangle. Yes. Yeah, no kidding. Can't force others to get off the triangle. You can only change your own dance. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, folks. Oh, yeah. Perpetuating drama and they don't like it, or say they don't like it. I would just like to suggest that perhaps we say we don't like it, but in some way it's meeting a need we have. A very interesting thing about human creatures is we only perpetuate behaviors that meet our need. So if you are perpetuating a behavior, you might want to explore what need you are meeting with that behavior. Okay, sunglasses are up. I'm Sheryl Mills with the Health Quality Council. You can reach me at that email address. I'm pretty quick at returning emails, and we can set up a time to chat or have an email conversation if you want to go further on that. But we are going to take some time now. We have about 7 minutes left for the Q&A portion. How about we move into that? What are some of the questions you might have? You had saved one.
Yes, so I'll invite folks to post their questions for Sheryl in the chat function. And while we wait, let's get to Jennifer's question that she posed earlier in the session. How do I know if I'm getting off the drama triangle or just changing my role to passive aggressive?
Yeah, Jennifer, the biggest hint here would be how you feel. When you are off the triangle, it's like you get a huge release of energy. And so that internal feeling, because you feel free. And the first few times you do it, you will be surprised at how much energy is released when you actually move off the triangle. If you do not feel a release of energy, a relief, you have merely switched roles. So that's probably the biggest one. The other thing is asking yourself the question, am I goal-focused here, or am I trying to get back at someone? Passive aggressiveness is about getting back at someone. Goal-focused is about achieving a goal together. So that would be probably the biggest two things I would think of. Any other questions? When you say, Shannon says, when you say we perpetuate behaviors that meet, oh yes, oh Shannon, you caught me on that one. Yes, no, they meet our needs. Do you mean our behaviors or others? No, they meet our needs for something. Attention, power, feeling important, all behaviors, no living organism perpetuates a behavior that is not meeting a need. And that could be, boy, that's a topic for a whole other webinar. But Shannon, I'd love to chat more about that with you. We can have a call on that one. Is it okay to get off without a resolution? Yes, it is. Definitely. You do not need resolution. Because sometimes faith trying to get at that resolution perpetuates the triangle. So changing to goal focus is the important part. Yeah, so our behavior is meeting our need for something. Yep.
Okay, well, welcome folks to continue to pose their questions through the chat. While you think of your questions or you're articulating them, I'd just like to welcome you to join us for our next QI Power Hour session. As you'll recall, these are monthly sessions, so we'll be back on May 29th with a presentation on an HQC program that's really been gaining a lot of traction in our province over the past year, called the Clinical Quality Improvement Program, or as we affectionately call it, CQIP. CQIP is a program that has been co-designed with our local physician community and modeled after the mini advanced training program in quality improvement offered by ThedaCare in Utah. So in our May session, we'll sit with Sheryl, the program director of this program, as well as one of our CQIP alumni from the first cohort, as we reflect on our journey to date and share some insights and advice for clinicians who are interested in perhaps joining this program into the future. So I'll flip it back. It looks like Marilyn has one more question, so we'll perhaps answer this last question and then close out for the day.
Okay. What happens when a resolution is needed but can't be reached due to drama? Again, it would be a return to the overall goal and a commitment, a recommitment by the people to have that goal. And one of our participant colleagues mentioned that finding those things that you can agree on would be one of the conversations. And really, I know a number of people that I've been working with through HQC have training in crucial conversations, also movement towards radical candor and how to develop those skills. So in both of those formats, that raises the level, flips it up out of drama into a goal-focused conversation. So Marilyn, we can chat more about that and we can explore your particular needs on that if you want to. Just send me an email and we'll do that.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Sheryl, for sharing your wisdom and your lived experience and your urban legend that, of course, was not at all from your own life, I'm sure.
No, not at all from my own life, no.
We welcome folks on the line to please provide us with your feedback on today's session. You'll notice that when you close out of WebEx, you'll be taken directly to a SurveyMonkey page with a couple short questions. In the spirit of continuous improvement, we appreciate your feedback, and we'll look forward to connecting again with everyone next month.
And also, Chelsea, because we were PDSAing the use of the megaphone, if you have, can people add any comments about how that was?
We'll welcome feedback on our newly integrated tool, the feedback function. So if you'd like to share your reflections on that, there is a space for open comments on the survey. So happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.